She doesn't reply for hours, sometimes days. And when she finally does, it's dry, cold, like you're just another notification she's clearing off her screen. You ask her out, she's busy. You try to be sweet, she thanks you, but her tone is distant. You compliment her, she brushes it off like it means nothing, and in your gut, you feel it. You're not even on her radar, not romantically, not emotionally. You're background noise, just another guy orbiting her world, hoping to get noticed. And yet, you keep trying. You think, maybe if I'm nicer, maybe if I show her how thoughtful I am, maybe if I'm always there when she needs something, she'll finally see it. See me. But the more effort you put in, the more invisible you seem to become. And deep down, it's not just confusing, it's humiliating. Because you know you're a good man, you know you have value. So why does it feel like you're the only one who sees it? This is one of the most soul-crushing dynamics a man can experience. Being deeply drawn to someone who seems completely unmoved by your presence. No warmth, no curiosity, just cool, distant civility. And it's in that confusion, that emotional limbo, where most men destroy their chances without realizing it. They try harder. They become more available, more emotionally generous, more understanding. They think if they can just prove how good they are, how devoted, how loyal, how reliable, she'll eventually realize what she's been missing. But here's the bitter reality most men refuse to accept. The more you try to prove your worth to a woman who has already dismissed you romantically, the more you reinforce her decision to overlook you. The moment you start acting like someone who needs to be chosen, you stop being someone who is choosing. And that's the paradox, because real attraction isn't built on desperation or devotion. It's built on contrast, unpredictability, and the one thing most men never think to offer, emotional scarcity. You see, women today are drowning in attention. Every single day, dozens of men flood their inboxes with compliments, validation, praise, emojis, good morning texts, check-ins, and just thinking of you messages. All of it feels the same. Predictable, boring, safe. When you offer your attention freely and constantly, it doesn't feel generous. It feels common. And what's common is rarely valued. Her indifference is not personal. It's psychological. Her brain has adapted to filter out the endless stream of male attention that adds no novelty to her experience. She isn't rejecting you as a person. She's rejecting the pattern you represent times she's seen 100 times before. And this is where most men go blind. They think they're being kind, respectful, emotionally intelligent. But in her mind, you're just another echo of every man she doesn't want. Human beings notice what breaks patterns, not what blends into them. And when you try to win her over by being available, attentive, and endlessly accommodating, you bury yourself under the noise of every other man using the exact same strategy. You become wallpaper. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth that flips everything you've been taught upside down. If you want to stand out in her mind, you have to stop trying to be seen. You have to stop broadcasting your worth. Stop offering your attention like it's a gift she should appreciate. And instead, do something most men don't have the strength to do: completely remove yourself from her world. Not gradually, not passive-aggressively, fully disappear, without explanation, without drama, without a trace. Because when you've been a consistent presence, even if only in the background, your sudden absence creates an unignorable gap in her psychological environment, not because she misses your words, but because her mind was used to seeing your name, hearing your voice, receiving your attention, and now, nothing. And here's where psychology does the work for you. The human brain is wired to notice sudden changes in familiar patterns. This is called a pattern interrupt. When something disappears unexpectedly, the mind fixates on that absence. It wants to solve the puzzle. It starts asking questions. Why did he stop texting? Did I do something? What's going on? And just like that, without saying a word, you've become a presence in her thoughts. Maybe not in a romantic way yet, but the shift has begun. Because now you've broken the pattern. You've become unpredictable. You've done something most men never do. Walk away with no explanation and no emotional leak. That silence echoes. The mistake most men make at this stage is misreading her signals. Maybe she likes a post, sends a casual text, comments on something meaningless. And because you've been emotionally starving, You take the bait. You respond instantly. You dive back in, and you ruin the very effect your absence was creating. You see, her initial outreach isn't necessarily genuine interest. More often than not, it's her ego trying to confirm that she still has your attention on standby. When you respond too fast, too eagerly, you confirm it. Yes, I'm still here if you want me. And just like that, she loses interest all over again. Your scarcity evaporates. You return to the background. But if you stay still, stay silent, stay invisible, something different happens. She doesn't just notice you're gone. She starts wondering why. And that wondering, that internal questioning, is the first crack in her indifference, because it means you're taking up mental space. And mental space is the foundation of attraction. Before she can feel desire, she has to feel curiosity. Before she can want you, she has to think about you. And the more she wonders about your absence, the more she begins to reevaluate what she originally overlooked. At this point, your silence is doing more than your words ever could. It's creating friction in her pattern, a void in her attention economy. And that void isn't just uncomfortable, it's powerful. Because the brain hates unresolved tension. It will seek to fill it. And if you maintain your ground, if you resist the urge to make yourself seen, her mind will begin doing the work for you. She'll stalk your profiles, scroll through your old conversations, revisit things she never paid attention to before, all because you're not reminding her you exist. You've become a mystery, a missing piece, something scarce. And scarcity changes everything. Because when something becomes scarce, it becomes valuable. And when it becomes valuable, it becomes attractive, and not because it changed, but because your relationship to it did. Your attention was once abundant and free. Now it's rare, selective. And the moment she senses that other people, especially other women, have access to something she dismissed, a new dynamic emerges. Competition, interest, reconsideration. Because now your value isn't self-declared. It's socially proven. And no woman wants to be the one who overlooked what others desire. So stop thinking the answer is more effort, more texts, more compliments. That path leads to invisibility. The answer is silence, distance, stillness. A clean break from the version of yourself that begged to be chosen. That version was chasing her. The new one is being chased without needing to run. Attraction isn't a trick. It's not a game. And it's definitely not about chasing, proving, or pleasing. If you want a woman to miss you, truly miss you, it starts with who you are without her. The man you become in her absence will do more than anything you could ever say or offer in her presence. Because here's the raw truth. Women don't long for men who make themselves small to fit into their lives. They long for men whose lives are already so rich, so full, so self-directed, that being part of it feels like a privilege and not a favor. The moment you stop making her the center of your attention and start putting that energy into building something greater, everything shifts. You stop orbiting her world. You become the sun in your own universe. And she starts to feel the gravitational pull of that energy, even if she doesn't understand why. This begins with redirecting your focus. The time you spent thinking about her, waiting for replies, decoding her behavior ruse, that is fuel. Improve your health, advance your career, build skills, develop your body, expand your mind, cultivate ambition so powerful it demands your full presence. Because when you become deeply engaged in your own evolution, you don't have time to wait around for someone else to validate you. You're too busy building a life that's undeniably magnetic. And that energy, that fire, doesn't go unnoticed. When she sees you glowing from within, without trying to impress her, without even needing her acknowledgement, that's when the questions begin. How did he change so fast? Why does he look so focused, so centered, so untouchable? You become more than the man she once ignored. You become a man who can't be easily accessed, a man who can't be emotionally fed by scraps of attention. And here's what most men never understand. Women don't fall for men who chase them. They fall for men who challenge them to grow, who show them a world beyond their own, who expand their sense of what's possible. So stop performing. Stop curating your life for her to see. Start actually living it, with depth, with direction, with purpose. Build connections that feed your soul. Fill your days with people and passions that make you forget you ever needed her attention. that's when she starts paying attention. And you'll feel the shift. She might reach out casually, trying to test the waters. A like, a message, a comment. But this time you don't bite. You're not rude. You're not cold. You're just grounded, neutral, friendly, but not invested. You answer like she's anyone else. Because now, that's exactly what she is. You're no longer emotionally starving. You're full. And full men don't beg, they don't chase. They don't shrink themselves for crumbs of attention. They evaluate, they choose, they lead. That energy, calm, detached confidence is what triggers the deepest attraction. Not because you're trying to make her feel anything, but because you've become someone who moves from abundance, not need. But it doesn't stop there. To really embed yourself in her mind, you have to go deeper. You need to create association psychological fingerprints she can't erase. You do this not through manipulation, but through meaning, shared jokes, unique phrases, a specific way you say something, a song you introduced her to, a book you told her about, a perspective she'd never heard before. These are the things that linger, because every time she hears that song, or sees that quote, or thinks about that idea, you're there. Not physically, but mentally. And the mind holds on to meaning far longer than it holds on to people. But don't force it. These memories must be authentic, natural, shared through real moments, not staged performances. Let her experience you as a portal into something deeper, mind that sees things differently, a man who thinks in ways most don't. Become the source of her curiosity, the source of her challenge, the source of her inner growth. Because when you're the man who opens her world, you never fully leave it, even when you're gone. And that's the key, being gone, but unforgettable. Not because you played games, but because your presence left a mark. You challenged her. You added value. You brought substance. And now, in your absence, she notices the lack of it. Because most people offer attention. Very few offer expansion. And once someone expands your mind or shifts your perspective, the connection is wired into you permanently. It's not just emotional. It's cognitive. It's somatic. It's everywhere. But the most important transformation of all isn't how she sees you. It's how you see you. You stop being the man who waits for interest and become the man who expects alignment. You stop accepting breadcrumbs and start requiring depth. You stop wondering what you did wrong and start focusing on what you can do right for yourself. You're no longer trying to be chosen. You're busy choosing, not with arrogance, with calm, unshakable self-respect. And here's the final truth. If she returns, curious, interested, even obsessed, you don't just let her back in. You don't abandon your standards the moment she pays attention. You maintain them. You watch, you observe, you measure her actions. Because now it's not about being wanted. It's about making sure you want her. Has she evolved? Is she capable of meeting you where you are now, not where you were before? Most men mess this up. They fold. They get excited. They become eager again. And in doing so, they kill the very energy that pulled her back in. If you re-engage, do so slowly, gradually. Only if she proves, with consistency and effort, that she values what she once overlooked. This is not about punishment. It's about alignment. If she wants access to you now, she needs to earn it through her actions, not her words. She needs to demonstrate depth, effort, genuine change. Because you are no longer available for empty attention. You are available for connection, for growth, for partnership. That's the difference between a man chasing women and a man who attracts women by becoming something rare, someone grounded, fulfilled, and unwilling to shrink for anyone's approval. And when you master that energy, when you walk in it, live it, embody it, it's no longer about making her miss you. It's about becoming the kind of man that everyone misses when he's gone. The kind who adds so much value, presence, and meaning to people's lives that his absence becomes impossible to ignore. That's not a trick. That's power. And it's yours if you stop chasing and start becoming.